Anyway guys, today I'm going to show you how to do a deep clean on Alps switches. Previously, in part 2 of this guide, I've shown you how to do a basic soft clean, as well as how to open the switches and prep the board. So if you're unfamiliar with how to do all this, you might want to watch that video first to get you up to speed. Anyway, a deep clean is what you want to do if your Alps board is so dirty or heavily used that a soft clean, like in the previous video, will not save it. If the board is only a little bit dirty, I'd strongly recommend a soft clean instead though. Rule number 1 with restoring Alps switches is, if it isn't broken, don't attempt to fix it, because you'll likely make it worse. So with the caps off and the case and plate having been cleaned, we're first going to sonicate the top housings. Take off the top housings using the technique I showed in the previous video, or if the switches really are particularly vile, you might want to desolder the switches and sonicate the bottom housings as well. If not, cleaning them out with a hoover and brush, like I showed previously, should suffice.
So I'm using the lab sonicator at the moment, which is looking very dirty by the way, but in any case, you can use either deionized water or slightly soapy water like I'm doing now, just to release the surface tension a little bit. But whatever you do, make very sure to end with a thorough rinse of deionized water, or you'll get deposits on your housings, which is exactly the type of thing that you're trying to avoid. Also, just a quick tip, never keep hold of anything that's in a sonicator, or you'll damage your joints.
If the switches have seen a lot of use, particularly when they were dirty, you're at risk of the slider tracks in the top housing having been damaged. In this case, you'll probably want to at least lubricate and possibly even change the housings for fresh ones off of other switches. If you're using pine housings, the older ones with slits like this, try to replace them with other pine housings, as these seem to feel and sound better, presumably because of the difference in plastics used. Next, you'll want to clean the sliders if they're dirty. Now, quite a few types of Alps switches come with a pre-lubricated slider, including these orange ones, and this can attract dust and dirt over time. But at the same time, it is lubricant, so don't wash them off if you don't need to. But if you really want to get it all off, use some soapy water and scrub it off with a toothbrush or something. Do this only if the lubricant has attracted so much dirt that its presence will likely do more harm than good. At this point, you'll want to reassemble at least some of the switches and see whether this has worked. Check part 2 for techniques on how to reassemble them if you're having trouble with it. If the switches now feel fine, I'd leave it at this. If they still feel like shit, most likely the case if you did decide to rinse off the sliders and or if your slider tracks are damaged, then you might want to lubricate these parts, which will be the subject of the next installment, part 4. In that video I show you how and what to lubricate, and I'm also going to test which is the best, because there's absolutely no consensus about which lubricant works the best, or even if it will actually work at all, because there's very conflicting reports about that as well. Anyway guys, that's it for this installment. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next episode.